Hi, Stephanie Stevenson here, otherwise known as Watercolor Artiste in online circles. And I am the artist of midlifeartist.com. Welcome to my Wednesday night live stream. I do it every Wednesday, if possible and whenever possible, to keep myself accountable for the work in progress Wednesdays, making sure I'm painting or doing something creative every week. If it's all only on Wednesday, then at least I'm doing it on Wednesday. Of course, I try to do more than Wednesday nights, but Wednesday nights are also where I can chat with my friends and those who join in. Feel free to lurk, observe, chat, however you want to participate. Watch on replay, that's okay too. But welcome. Um, I've been a part time artist since 2022. Even though I've had a degree in it since 1994. Yikes! I just dated myself, so that tells you how long it's been. Why such a long gap? Well, because um, lots of reasons, but I got married right out of college, had kids shortly thereafter, and when you're a young parent, newly married, and you have to raise children in a new house, everything going on, you're lucky to get a full night's sleep, never mind try to do art. And of course, during the time that I took art in university, they didn't really show you or tell you how to market yourself, how to do the things you needed to do to get out there to make a living off of it. So I was ill prepared to even try, even if I somehow carved out time uh, in my younger years. In any case, neither here nor there. That's in the past. Bridge over troubled waters. Crossed that already. So, anyway, here I am, 2022 and going. Strong? Maybe not, but I'm trying. Doing it part time. I do a full time job during the day, during the work week. And so I'm trying to do as much as I can in my off time. Welcome, Frosty. Good to see you. My chat gets lively usually on the Rumble side of things, although I simulcast on YouTube as well. So if you're on YouTube and you're watching, welcome. And anyway, I'm starting a new painting. I do have another painting, Nancy Wake, that's in progress. I've walked away from her because I didn't want to work on her tonight. I changed my composition. It's coming along, but it's in an ugly stage and it's driving me a little batty. So I figured it was time to stop. I've been wanting to do a second painting, get started on a second painting at the same time anyway. So my husband gave me an inspiration to do something. So I went out and got a square canvas and got it prepped with my drawing. And I'm going to get started on it tonight by putting in my first layer, the background, and worrying about tonal values more than anything else. Um, so I'm excited to get started on something new. Uh, it's a little daunting, but yeah, you know, what's what's life if you don't take risks and if you don't try something new, you don't learn something new. I am going to be doing a painting method called subtraction. I put in the show notes a link to the video which I watched that inspired tonight's methodology. I did not have the same um, supplies as Milan Art Institute, who did the video I referenced in the show notes. So I am winging it on what I did have, and I'm hoping it's an okay choice. But in any case, if you hear a noise in the background, it's because I got paper on the floor in case when I'm working, uh, paint drips down, it's not going to hit my wood floor. If you were on my live stream a couple weeks back, I did a little tour of my art space here in my library. It was a library first. It's still a library, but I occupy it as my art studio, and it gets more use that way than it does anything else. although we love books, so we won't get rid of our books. Although I do need to find time to read more. Anyway, um, if you want to know more about the methodology, the video in the show notes really does do a good job of explaining its drawing on the canvas and getting a first layer down by subtraction. So you use a medium to lay down flat color, and then you subtract out using tools um, that would take some of the paint away where the brightest brights are, and lay down dark background color on the darker areas, and you draw in with your subtraction tools the image, and then let it dry overnight, and then work on the second layer. So I'm hoping that that's how it's going to work out for me, like it did in the video, knowing full well that I didn't have the same supplies as they did. I think I'm relatively close, so we'll see how it goes. But welcome, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, I usually try to do like little announcements or a little ditty. I'm not very prepared tonight, but keep in mind the Iranian people, not the government of Iran, but the Iranian people. They're fighting for their freedom, and we're so soft here in America. We've lived in luxury. We've taken our freedoms for granted, that we have whole generations that have no clue what it means to live truly oppressed. And these people have had 47, I think 47 years of, especially women. And it's amazing to me that there isn't a feminist uprising on behalf of the Iranian women uh, facing persecution all these years, and certainly now. So in any case, keep the people of Iran in your prayers, and hopefully the West will do something. I'm not for boots on the ground of our own people. We do need to still take care of our country. Lord knows our country is gone astray. Um, but if there's a way we can be strategic to help, then I say let's do it. But anyway, that's just my humble opinion. I don't. It's not really politics. It's more about freedom for a people who've been oppressed for so long. Um, Same goes for Venezuela, although they've already got a step ahead, courtesy of President Trump. Um, what else? Well, I don't really have. I've been just trying to get to this Wednesday to Wednesday, I think. Anyway, um, let's get started. I got palette cam going. Hey, crazy bear. All right, let's take the webcam off view. Okay, so I've got my canvas here. It is a 30-inch by 30-inch square canvas, and I have put my drawing in on it to get it placed compositionally. I got some placeholders, some compositional elements already laid in, and I've got semi-transparent and transparent colors ready to go. You want to use uh, transparent or semi-transparent colors for the first layer process, and then you have to have a solvent dilute with linseed oil. In the video, they use a soy thin solvent. I don't have that. I tried to look for it, couldn't find it. Oops. I apologize for my cord. That's my cord for palette cam, so you'll have to just understand that. But in any case, I didn't have soy thin. I did have linseed oil, but it's one part linseed oil to 6 parts solvent. So whatever solvent you have, I had Gamsol. Let's see here, Gamsol, and I had Gamlin linseed oil as well. So I mixed that up in my jar, my canning jar, to follow along from from their video. So that's what I did. I've got I'm going to lay down blue and dark blue that's tinted with raw umber for the darker areas. And then once I lay it down, I'm going to go in and do some subtraction using makeup. What are these called? They're foam wedges that are sold in the makeup section of stores. And they really pull out color so you can get a highlight. I'm also going to be using these kinds of, oops, which way am I going? These are, they help like mold clay and such. They're also used, I think, in printmaking. They're rubber with edges to them. You can see that right there. So those are going to be used as drawing instruments. And then if I want to get some unique texture pullouts, I'm going to use my brushes. And just get that laid in tonight. And hopefully it'll turn out. And you know what? I have to constantly tell myself that if I mess it up, it's okay. It's a canvas. You can certainly paint over it again. So that is, something I tell myself. I'm laying down the only blue that I have that's semi-transparent, and I think ultramarine blue by its nature is transparent or semi-transparent, but I'm not using that. I'm using cerulean blue. I think it's actually going to be more appropriate for this painting, and you'll see that as things go. I'm going to lay down some raw umber as well. That's a transparent color as well to help get some of the darker areas established. So this first layer is to establish broad sections of tonal value. So that way when you come in on the second layer the next day or in the following days, you can concentrate on color and not have to worry so much about tonal value, so long as you're not overriding the tones that you had already established. But you work large to small, back to front, and I think it's, I forget the cool to dark, or I mean cool to warm, or vice versa. In any case, I'm not in that section right now. So I'm going to see about getting this done. All right, here we go. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to get this covered. And you want this to be not dripping. So let's see here. It's supposed to, the drawing is supposed to stay visible under this if you do it right. Although I'm not seeing that happen. I'm going to brush this around. This is supposed to stay wet while you work on it, on this first layer. Don't worry about brush strokes so much. This is kind of like a mid-tone. What you want is a mid-tone to start, so you can pull the whites out, the light colors, and then bring in darks as you go. And we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it brushing on the canvas. But the drawing was done initially with a light HB graphite, but because graphite smudges when you paint, I went in over it with the permanent marker, because you can paint over permanent marker. It's not going to smudge. And Trying to get this to spreading this so my drawing can still be seen. I wear glasses, and sometimes the dark areas are harder for me to see, so I'll make sure that I can see my drawing underneath. I know that on this side it's darker. And if you have trouble seeing tonal values, squint at your source, your reference, squint at it and see where the dark values, the light values are. Again, this isn't dripping. You don't want it dripping down your canvas. So yeah, that's all it is getting this base down. The big canvas, this is really good to do on smaller canvases, but this composition begged for a larger canvas. Of course, I'm inclined to agree because I like to work large. One of these days I should try to do smaller. I don't know if I'd go as small as TJ works. I think he's the one that does those little micro canvases. I don't know how he does that. I guess my problem is I can't see very well. Even with my glasses on, I got, the glare off the canvas and I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know how small y'all have worked on canvases. If you worked on small canvas, put down in the comments the smallest canvas you ever painted on. And I mean canvases. I'm not talking about paper where watercolor is being used, but canvases, because canvases, it's got the surface that you have to deal with. I'd like to know um, if you've done anything super small. And it's like, is there a market for super small? I don't know. I don't know. 8 by 10. 8 by 10. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think the smallest I've done was, and it's more of a study than it was anything else, was 8 by 10. This is dark up here too. Trying to just kind of indicate where my dark areas are. Do, 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 do. Yep. So much of this, the first start of this is getting the entire surface with its background. It's called the underpainting for some people, and that's as good of a description and title as any. Um, but yeah, I've done one 8 by 10, and it was a study, and it was actually the first time I picked up oil paints since graduating university, and it was after I learned you can oil paint without turpentine and all the nasty stuff, because I don't have a ventilated space. Speaking of which, I'm going to kind of keep that capped. It's supposed to, I don't have a hugely ventilated area, and there's no way, I don't think I can do a hugely ventilated area. So for a while there, I didn't think I could pick oils back up without doing some sort of upgrade or change, or finding an art studio to rent somewhere, and that wasn't in the cards for sure. But since figuring out that I can paint with safflower oil, which I'm not using that tonight, not for this particular um, exercise, um, I'm back in the saddle again when it comes to oil. I like oils, and I thought about doing this space layer in acrylics, but they dry too fast. And even with the uh, golden acrylics, golden open, um, I it's too big a canvas. I think the canvas would probably dry too fast on this. So I'm hoping that ooh, hello, Stephanie. Stop throwing stuff around. I guess I need to just leave that alone. You can't, oh, hey, Artisan. They wouldn't let you in. I wonder why. Welcome, welcome. How goes the battle today? Are you in, you're in your art studio now, right? Artisan, you were reorganizing or repainting or creating your art space or recently, right? And I was just talking about how my art space is our library. And if you were here a couple weeks ago, I kind of did a tour. I think you were, um, with my palette cam mobile phone camera. And there's no ventilation. This is a library primarily, but it gets more use as my art space, my art studio. And I can't wait for Crazy Bear to try painting. That would be fun. He did one acrylic of the kitty cat, a home for the kitty cat. And that I even saw exhibition time. It was awesome. All right, I have got a canvas covered, although this bottom needs a little bit more, I think. So this is, hopefully this works. Like I said, I had to come up with my own solvent / linseed oil mixture medium for this because I did not have the same supplies that the video in the show notes for which I reference. I did not have that. So I do have some, I think an equivalent on order. And you need to have a towel. Now, what does this mean? I look at you. Well, I can see my drawing barely, but now I'm going to get my. I can close this up now. I think for now, so I don't inhale too much of that stuff. Again, what I was using here was Gamsol as my solvent. And again, you use 1 part linseed oil to 6 parts solvent for this exercise. And again, I'm hoping to get Gamsol is not bad, but it's not perfect. But let's do broad areas of pulling out the light areas. So now I'm going to use these makeup wedges to start pulling out some lights here. Okay, let's see. And again, this is just broad areas. You can see I'm already pulling out some lights. And then all around her, when you squint at it, all around her is also bright areas. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just identifying tonal values with this exercise. I'm pulling out the light areas. There's that line there. And that light around her. Okay. You can see it's coming off on down here where she's in the water. And this is one way to do it, but there are other ways. I'll be bringing those to bear here momentarily. Let's see where those highlights coming in. And then you obviously will, can't talk and do this at the same time apparently. But yeah, if you can also use brushes dipped in the solvent and to pull away some of the paint. And then also you can use these, I forget what they're called. The spare bedroom. You haven't painted anything yet. Come on, Art of Zen, get on it. So like if I wanted to bring out the highlights in her hair, I use these drawing utensils, and it brings got a bright spot on her forehead because of the light source. The shoulder is bright, 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 along with this collarbone. So yeah, what you're doing is pulling out the lights and establishing your tonal values. So you're doing this whole area. Bright all the way down here. And in fact, I can probably take some of that away. Of course, it's smudging it, and that's okay. Again, we're trying to establish. So, Frosty, are you working on anything tonight? You know, are you doing any paintings or anything like that? Same question to you, Artisan. She's got a bright spot on this shoulder. And I'm trying to hold this just like I would a paintbrush. So this is called subtractive painting. There is some brightness on her breastplate here. So yeah, I'm just essentially drawing by subtracting out the paint is all that this is. Again, if you want to learn more about this process, they're better at explaining it than I am. The link is in the show notes, and it's Milan Art Institute. I enjoy their content and their process and what they share. So yeah, she's got some eyes here that are pretty intense. Look at those eyes there. Got some more hair here. Just kind of placing things back here. Behind her is bright, so we'll take that out. You can also use Q-tips to subtract out some paint. So I got marks here. Of course, this kind of colors it in and takes some of the brightness away. But I think I like using this pen better. But yeah. And so she's got bright areas here, bright areas here. Down around her belly button. Got bright areas here. What am I painting? Is an Amazon, and she is wading in a natural pool. This is kind of inspired by Ron's game. So if you're not familiar, actually, I'm going to color this back in with the Q-tip because it's not as bright as her hip area, and I don't want it to her hip area. So yeah, this is inspiring for his game. And so yeah, and I've done Amazons before, but I actually play an Amazon in his game. It's my gig, you know. So I like the Amazon people group. Okay, I think I saw you post something, Artisan, about the black canvas. Um, I started on a black canvas for my son's um, excavator painting. I don't know if you saw that or not. I haven't posted about it in a while because I gave the painting to my son and for a gift and for Christmas. Two Christmas. Has it been two Christmases already? I think so. So this is not as dark. I mean, not as light on that side. And get my Q-tip on this one. And now on this side between her arm and her body, it's very bright. So we'll pull that right out. So yeah, I started with a black canvas for the excavator painting, and I made a night sky excavator painting. Um, and it turned out pretty good. It was the first time I did it all in acrylics. There was no oil involved on that one. And boy, was that a learning process. I don't know if you've ever done a night sky before, but man, was that a learning process. And I really enjoyed how it turned out, but it took me a while to get there. So yeah, I'm trying to get this drawn in. Let's see here. There's a ledge here with vegetation, so I'm just indicating that as part of the. There's another ledge here. I don't know if you can see that. Trying to get some neck definition here. I'm trying to see in my OBS window what it's looking like, because then you stand close to it, it's not doesn't look the same. All right, let's see here. So yeah, that's all it is. You're just subtracting paint from it so you can establish your values. And this is in the brightest part of the light. And then there's is that kind of showing up? Let's see. That ledge is right there. There is some bright vegetation coming off here. Bright vegetation. Yeah, I'm not saying a lot tonight, am I? I'm very concentrating, I guess. I wish one of these days, I got my ticker working, if you noticed. Yeah, yeah. An iceberg. Why did you stop painting the iceberg? I'm just curious. There's another tip here. Because I think you could have pulled it off easily. All right, where's my lines? Trying to establish. There's a hanging moss that's going to be coming down, but it's dark. So up here behind that branch, there's some. Well, at least you know when to stop putting effort into something if you think you're not getting it right. But you should still figure out, what it was that you were struggling with, and then try it again at some point. Maybe not with that canvas, but it's not easy. But it's okay. It's a learning experience, right? Same with my Nancy Mace painting. It's like I said at the beginning, I could be working on Nancy Mace, but I needed to give myself a break from it because she's driving me crazy. It really isn't her fault. It's my fault for changing gears like I talked about. Let's see here. There is some ripples in this water. And then there's some shoreline. Shoreline. And in the foreground here, there's going to be vegetation. So I'm not really worried about the foreground so much because the foreground is going to be last. Let's see here. And there's vines hanging down from the top here. That's kind of what I'm doing, is trying to identify those vine areas. The light behind the vines and then the vines themselves. So you can start to see that she's really kind of coming along here. Let's see here. This is her shoulder down here. Might need to get my brushes. All right. Behind her is bright. She's got hair coming down. See here. There's a ledge here. Vegetation on this ledge. And I am just placing things. This is bright vegetation over here. Okay, that's a branch. Okay. Another little ledge, it's less visible. And some of these are still a little too bright. So yeah, sometimes trying to get that. And then I've not really done this before, so I'm kind of feeling my way through. You think so? I'll when I get to a point where I can pull the palette cam, I will maybe I'll get up close so you can see. Kind of. There's some lights, but that are not super bright. Let's see here. Let's see here. Her hand. Let's see. Ooh, it's a little difficult here. See, I'm getting brights or let's see. This is not as bright, but it is lighter. Maybe I need to get my brush and see if I can't be a little bit more detailed. Let's see. And then there's a reflection in the water. This is all white here. Let's see if I can get it. This is really okay. Not as bright as I could get it. Seems to be a little. This should be really bright. We got a armband up here. Let's see. Hmm. The other thing you can do is dip your Q-tips in here as well. And I think what's going to help pull this together is maybe coming in with some darker tones. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this. Let me see if I can show you without starting on darks. I'm going to show you this up close. Let's see here. All right. Let's see here. Oops. Guess I need to go this way. There we go. Sorry about the orientation. So just to give you an idea, that's the reference I'm working from. This is my workspace, if you can see. You can see the glare I'm working with. Again, I'm not going to touch the front really for a while because I want to work from back to front. I definitely want to get her placed, but you can see kind of up close. So, yeah, again, that's the reference I'm working from. And what's going to happen is I'm going to put vegetation that is more rare in the game that is part of the books. I'm going to put that in the front. But yeah. But you can see I got to squint more. That you see how she's really lit up, and she's not really lit up here yet, but she's getting there. She's getting there. Whoops. Let's see if I can get that up there. Try to do this without disconnecting my camera on this thing. Let's see if that worked. There. So now you can see how it's turning out. Ah! Try not to get it all over yourself. I'm not wearing my apron tonight because I have my sweatshirt on, but yeah. So you see, I'm trying to get her placed. There's a lot of vegetation in that reference photo. So let's see here. I'm going to see if I can't smooth out some of these. These areas with my brush. This is really, really bright over here on her chest area above her breastplate. And so the brush can really help kind of she's gotta clean off your brush to do this right. When I squint at it, this is bright on the other side. Okay. Let's see here. See if I can't. This is brighter than the surrounding. And then this in the background is the edge of a big block. And then I take this. That hand. Yeah, it's coming along, but it definitely is a little more difficult than I thought it would be. Oh my goodness. Let's see about doing some darks. I think I'll feel better. Well, I keep saying that, but I'm gonna try to. Use this brush a little bit. Yeah. Mm. Kind of lost my focus here. All right, I do need to do some darks. All right, that tells me what I need to do. So here, I need to do blue and raw umber. Let's see here. This is a little thick. Yeah, I said I've not done this technique before, so it's a little bit new to me. There's a necklace here. This is a little difficult, I guess. It's a little intimidating, but I'm, I'm doing it. And her hair is dark. Amazon hair is dark. It comes right down here. This is dark down here. This whole side of her is dark. Down. Is it starting to show up? Starting to show up, isn't it? All right. Makes me feel a little better. Probably using the wrong size brush for this. Probably. This hair comes down into strands. I have an armband, but it's in shadow. And then this comes down. This comes down. Ah. Let's see about smaller brush. Some of these areas here. See, I like playing Amazon. They're a powerful female group that has honor, and I like to play an honorable character. I'm not used to drawing or painting small faces, as I do portraits mainly. And so drawing small faces is actually quite difficult. So I think the dark areas that I'm bringing in, I think that's helping me see this better. Yeah, bringing in some darks is helping me see it better. All right. This is the arm brace here. There's always a spot on a canvas that I struggle. This seems to be the spot right now. So, Artisan, what are you thinking that you're going to paint on that black canvas at this point? Since it's not an iceberg, what are you thinking? Okay, so that's where I need to go, is to you're thinking koi. Oh, yeah, I do remember seeing you saying something about that earlier. Let me show you guys what it's looking like with the dark coming in. What do you think? I know there's a glare from the light, so I apologize. It's hard not to get glare when it's wet. What do you think? So yeah, I gotta get the, not bad. Definitely really pulling her forward, isn't it? That's that's cool. It's neat to try something new. Like I said, I've not done this technique before. Certainly not on this scale. Uh, so yeah, I'm just using, again, this is cerulean blue, and raw umber. Just kind of bringing those in. And get this hip in there, and I think she'll start to really come forward. Yeah, Ron has some great ideas. If there's anything I can really say, he got great ideas and he can really do some nice artwork. That's why I'm excited for him to try to do some of this on canvas. And it's not his forte, mind you, but um, that's why, if it doesn't work out where he feels like he can do it, there's always me. I can always try, like I'm doing this. I volunteered for this one because it's an Amazon. Come on now. Gotta love Amazons, especially when they kick butt and don't bother taking names, you know? There we go. Sometimes you gotta. There, that arm's coming right forward now. All right. I gotta get the rest of her hip getting in there. All right, I do need to put some more of this raw umber down. So yeah, I really like her stance. I really like that part about her. She's looking like, don't mess with me. Don't you dare mess with me. It's like, yeah, that's right. Don't mess with her. She'll she'll have you for lunch. We gotta get this here. You do have a big learning curve ahead of you, honey, but I think, if I'm with you and I can I can help you, I think you would do just fine. Yeah, I'm sorry for not talking so much. Maybe that's a good thing. Shut up, Stephanie, you talk too much. But yeah, I'm excited about this painting. If I can pull this off, man, that would be so cool. I love I love the idea of Amazons and you think she looks vulnerable because she's in a pool of water and she doesn't have all of her armor on. Contrary to popular opinion, she does not have all of her armor on. We were just joking about that um, when we were visiting with Ron's parents and sister and brother-in-law, and we were talking about how video games differ on armor sets for for females versus males. and and there's a it's called Viva La Dirt League, right? Isn't that what it is, honey? Viva La Dirt League, and they make fun of video games. They're gamers, but they know how to laugh at themselves, and they had a they had a great uh, video on that. I forget, it was gender equitable um, armor sets, and they had the cod piece for the men. So if women have to have breastplates that look like bikini tops, then men can have cod pieces to cover their. Mm-hmm, you know, the other reasons. It was funny. I loved it. Yeah, it's called Viva La Dirt League, if I'm not mistaken, and they're hysterical. Unfortunately, this brush doesn't like to come to a fine point. I might have to change my brush. So right now, she seems to be hovering over the water. All right, let's see if I can't. What time are we at? Oh my goodness, it's already 9:22. I gotta close this out here. I always promise to not keep people too long. I'll try to get this armband. I don't think I'm supposed to be going into this detail, but there's a lot of darks and lights on her, and I want to make sure they don't muck up the works here. If I get her right, I think I can get everything else situated. All right. I gotta stop rubbing my nose because my hands have been all over this stuff, and this is not safflower oil. This is a little bit more than that. Let's see here. All right, let me try to get some definition here. I like that I'm doing this warrior princess kind of character. Love it. Love it, love it. Yeah, this is, like I said, in the beginning, you might have missed it since you might have joined a little later. The original, I shared in the show notes, the video I watched that kind of talks about this um, process, and that they use um, what is it called? Soy thin? Soy thin. Um, oh no, I'm forgetting the name of the product, but it's the sort of like the Gamsol. Where is it? So that's what I'm using, but they use a called soy thin, and that is supposedly better than even Gamsol. All right. Let me show you one last go around, and then I will conclude for the evening. I appreciate you guys joining me. This kind of went fast tonight for me, which shows you that I'm enjoying myself. Yeah, look at her come out. She's coming out all right. She's like, I'm coming for you. I might be standing in water, but ha ha, joke's on you, people. So yeah. Again, I'll show you the kind of what my image is. You can see there's a lot of hanging moss, these blocks in the back of an ancient ruin, and she's standing in a pool of water. And then the foreground is going to be the last thing I do, obviously, for flowers. But yeah, not bad. So yeah, not bad at all. Not a bad process. I obviously need practice with it, um, for sure. And I'll have to keep going because while the painting is wet, I need to finish putting the. There we go. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Um, like I said, I got to finish the other elements. It's hard when the image is so busy with small vegetation, um, and I'm not good with landscapes and small vegetation. You give me a person, a portrait, I'll do it, even if I have to struggle like with Nancy. And that's because I changed midstream the composition, and then her faces, because I had to rearrange her face, tilt it. That meant everything moved, and I'm struggling with that portion of it. And until I get that right, she's kind of in perpetual whip. But yeah, this should be fun to do on the side as well. And so I'm going to try to finish pulling out lights and pushing in darks, um, and then letting it dry, and then come back for the second layer once this is dry. But if you're interested in knowing more about this process, um, the video link is in the show notes, and it's by Milan Art Institute. Um, they've got some great tips and tricks on things um, that are worth watching. But they have an institute, so they teach art, so they push that a lot. So if you're not interested, you can just turn it off at that point. But they offer a lot of good content for free on their channel, so they're worthwhile watching. But they really go over it in detail, what this process is, and I think it's worth trying. I see it already. Oh, that's already probably drying. It's not supposed to dry until you're ready for it to dry, but again, I was working with a different concoction, so we'll see. But nothing else, I still can see my drawing underneath, so I know where things are. So I'm not scared at this point. Let's just put it that way. I'm not scared of it yet, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. But thank you guys for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. It helps keep me going and accountable, to keep painting, keep trying, keep striving. And now I've got two paintings going. So when one frustrates me, I can go to the other and vice versa. That's always a good idea. So I finally got that going. Uh, I appreciate you all joining me and sharing in. So you guys have a good week ahead. Be praying for Iran, for Venezuela, for our own country. Lord knows we need it. And keep painting, keep drawing, keep sharing. I know I haven't been around in the group as often, and it's just because I've been busy with work and other things. But I'm going to try to keep going. I love my Artist Corner family. I love you guys. You guys are very good support, and I appreciate it. So have a good night, and then have a good weekend. See you on social media. See you next Wednesday. You guys have a good night.